Darn it, Green Arrow. I mean, good night. You pull off 2 episodes in a row that are good, probably pretty great, and an episode that's pretty great for like 99% of its runtime, and then in the last 60 seconds of its runtime, you find some way to screw it up. What is wrong with you? You do something completely out of character and just screw up the whole thing and just... This is why I find you so frustrating to watch. Because you pull me in. I mean, I almost give up on you, but then you pull me in with something really good, with some really good, interesting stuff, and with characters that I like, and good actors playing them, and then you pull something stupid that makes me just want to give up, but I have to hold in there, because there's still good stuff with good actors, and you're driving me insane. Before we get to that last minute, let's talk about the rest of this episode, which is just about perfect. So, the photo of Oliver as the Green Arrow is out there, and an FBI agent by the name of Watson has been sent over to investigate Oliver, and he shrugs it all off, and he even goes on a tour because made up bog standard Eastern European nation wants to invest in putting up a factory in Star City, and well, the press won't get off Oliver's back, but he keeps maintaining the photo was faked. Which Felicity and Mr. Terrific quickly find out, yeah, it was, because the place Oliver is standing is completely fake. But during this tour, they get ambushed by the Russian mobster. Why do they have to make up a Eastern European nation to be the good guys? This is what I don't get on TV. They have to make up nations all the time because they're afraid of offending someone in the real country. But then they'll just have Russian or Chinese or Japanese mobsters in there. Why aren't they afraid of offending people in those countries? Yet, when a country seems to be doing something good, like building factories and expanding, which would imply that the nation is doing well, and it's investing in jobs outside its country, which would mean it's doing very well, they feel the need to make up a nation when it's positive? I don't get it. Well, anyway, enough about that, because because this episode has so much in it that we'll be here forever. But anyway, Oliver can't do anything when the Russian mob, led by his friend from his time in the Russian mob, shows up. So this naturally points to him leaking the photo to the news, which seems to have come from inside the news, and there being mum about where it came from. Agent Watson turns out to be too smart to throw off with her stuff and with Oliver's typical tactics. So that doesn't work. The Russians, for Russia, this then turned out to be holding guys, some of the hostages, but not the main representative from the foreign business in a restaurant. And big surprise, Russian mobsters versus a Green Arrow who's having a really bad day is a little bit of a one-sided fight. And when I say one-sided, I mean someone's set on fire, and it isn't the Green Arrow. But the hostage gets away and he's poisoned. And now we find out and then we find out Felicity is running low on cash. Mr. Terrific has been doing freelance programming work, and he didn't tell her. She's kind of mad, but in his defense, he says, what I always assume about most superhero shows, about comics and everything else. If a character's job isn't mentioned, I just assume they have a secret one. But they all had jobs they just weren't telling each other about. But no, it turns out Felicity hasn't been able to find one yet. So there's a fun back and forth. Pretty much, darn it. I can't remember her name. I can't believe I blanked on this actress's name, but you know, the actress who plays Felicity, she's always fun in these types of scenes, so that's great. It adds a bit of levity, which is needed. It turns out I may have been a little hasty in calling a fake out on the explosion on the island, because while it does seem like a cheat that only one person died, it turns out the repercussions are played out because Diggs has nerve damage. That's why he hasn't been firing his gun, and that's why Wild Dog and Black Canary nearly get killed on his watch now, because he can't hold a gun steady enough to fire it, and the nerve damage is degenerative. That sucks. Dig is kind of, sort of, my favorite character, so yeah, that kind of sucks. And then we get to a subplot that is handled so well. Then we get to this. Well, first, let me just finish off. He tracks down his Russian mob friend. Oliver tracks down his Russian mob friend, and he shoots the hostage full of an antidote to the poison that he's been given. However, his Russian mob friend shoots the guy, and Oliver finds it suspicious that he asked for exactly $20 million, something that they had set aside for rebuilding the police station. He says the reason why he did that is because Oliver was his friend, and he's a man of honor. Yeah, because that's exactly what you do to your friends or former friends. He apparently got kicked out of the mob and even out of Russia. Boy, when the Russian mob kicks you out, they do not fool around. It's not just get out of our city or get out of our gang. No, it's oh yeah, you're banished from the entire country. And yeah. So, and it turns out he's not the one who leaked the photo. He has no idea where that came from. Because again, he said that he'd never do anything that could possibly hurt. Because again, he makes a point that while he'll shoot a hostage when they're facing off each other, and he won't do anything to harm Oliver's son. And Oliver ends up letting him go because he can't bring himself to kill him. Because, well, he has grown a lot as a character since season 1. So I'm not sure whether he'll come back he's probably going to be a thorn in Oliver's side for a while, or he's going to come back as an unlikely ally later on. Hey, if they can do it with Deathstroke, they can do it with this guy. But anyway, it turns out William has problems of his own. And this is the perfect segue from what I was talking about to this new bit, to what I find so frustrating in this episode. Up until now, this episode has been perfection, and what they do with this subplot is perfection right up until the very end. It turns out William has been getting bullied at school because people think his father is the Green Arrow. I would have thought that would make him more popular at school, but whatever. Or bullies too scared to pick on him. But anyway, Oliver gives him what I call the Michael Weston talk. And I call it that because it mirrors almost exactly, word for word, a scene in the pilot episode of the show Burn Notice, where Michael is interacting with a bullied kid and basically tells him to do the exact same thing. Unexpectedly strike out at the largest kid, who's the leader of a pack of bullies, and take him out quickly, and then the rest of the bullies will back off and he'll be humiliated. Seems more productive than the more effective of a way to deal with bullies than hoping that your teacher can keep an eye on them 24/7. But that turns out not to be the real problem. At first I was going to give this kid a How Dare You Save the World badge, but he's a kid, so I'm going a little easy on him, and the episode does do a good job of making a point. In fact, seeing this played out so adult and so well, it hurts me that it was used as an excuse for a cheap soap opera like drama later on. William basically tells Oliver that he's not getting close to him, and he doesn't want to talk to him because he figures sooner or later he'll be taken out as the Green Arrow. And he'll be gone, so why get attached? It reminds me of a parenting advice that was actually given. There were actually books giving out this parenting advice back in the 1700s and 1800s to parents because of the childhood mortality rate back then. So there is historical precedent for it. Basically, there were books telling parents not to get too attached to their new kids because you had a decent chance that the kid wasn't going to live to adulthood. So if you got too attached to one of your kids and they didn't make it, you were just setting yourself up to become non-functional because of the tragedy. So it was easier. So books would give parents advice on just teaching their kids the difference between right and wrong, but otherwise staying out of their lives personally. And that seems to be what the kid is doing here. He's just lost his mother to this Green Arrow stuff, and as the kid and Oliver does the typical, cliche of promising him he's never going to let anything happen to him. Only the kid points out that it's not up to him. Oliver has to later admit to Wild Dog that, yeah, his son is right, and he knew he was lying the whole time, and his son just called him out on it. These scenes, they got a good actor playing this kid, because these scenes where he plays against Stephen Amell are just well acted, and they're actually written in a very adult way, where you think they're going for the cliche and then they pull it out and hit you with realism. And this is really the heart of the show. And if this becomes the heart of the show this season, and if they have a 7th season, that I wouldn't mind that, because this is a very good, very firm foundation here. So anyway, all this goes down, and it just leaves Oliver wondering about his future and worried that he is going to leave his son an orphan, and he later has to admit to his son that he can't guarantee he'll be coming home, but he wants to. Felicity and Mr. Mr. Terrific event proved that the photo was fake to the news, but that won't stop Agent Watson. Although I'm kind of wondering about the legality of some of the things she's doing. First, she goes into Oliver's office without a warrant. You'd think that would taint anything. I think that would taint her investigation, since she won't be able to prove that she didn't get information from his office. With him not there. Then she wants to question his son without a lawyer present. Again, that doesn't seem legal at all. And third, the whole basis of her case is this one photograph, which is proved to be fake. So I have to wonder. I don't know. I'm not a law enforcement expert, but it seems to me that would taint her whole case, and her superiors would be going, this case is going to take millions to look into, and we're not even sure we have anything that a judge won't throw out, because there are free points that any good defense attorney could attack. Those seem like free points that Perry Mason would attack on his show, at least, to undermine the whole case. But anyway, Felicity and Mr. Terrific decide to go into business for themselves, realize that, oh, we've been building all these amazing computer programs all this time, helping the Green Arrow. Doi! We don't need to be short on money. We can just publish them and, publish commercial versions of them, and they'll be a big help to law enforcement and private industry. They'll all want this stuff. So their money problems seem like they're going to be over soon. And now we get to the stupid part. The part I've been dreading talking about. Before Diggs can tell Oliver that he's having degenerative nerve damage, Oliver tells Diggs that he wants him to be a Green Arrow because he can't continue to risk it while he has a son. Okay, I get this. I really do. I get that he'd be tempted to do this, but this does not line up with Oliver, and it's not a thing of his personal responsibilities to the city. No, he's done enough. I can understand him being able to put that aside. But the fact that he's asking somebody else to take up the mantle of Green Arrow, who also has a daughter who's much younger than his son, and another member of his team also has a daughter. So two members of his team that he's asking to go on, it's just so stupid. It's just stupid and hypocritical, and it's not in character. Oliver would consider this, but I feel like if the episode hadn't run out of time, this would just be one brief scene where he considered it, everybody pointed out what a hypocrite he was, or Diggs talked about it and pointed out that the dangers to the city will keep coming, and we all know he's coming back as the Green Arrow later, even if they do a few episodes with him without him as the Green Arrow. So, it makes me want to. It's so stupid. It thinks a perfect episode. This episode was a 9 out of 10. Everything with his kid was handled well. The light bits, and with their bit of realism of Felicity trying to figure out how she's going to have money, that was handled well. The whole kidnapping subplot was just perfect. The action scenes were great, and then this comes and hits it. This stupidity that just makes it stupid and sinks the whole thing, and it's going to sink future episodes too. They get going great on this show, and then because they have to stretch it out to 22 episodes, I really wish this was on cable or Netflix or something where they just did 12 episodes, because then they wouldn't have to stretch this out. It's one of my big problems with broadcast TV right now. They have a great show here, great cast, it's going great, and then they drop this, which takes an episode that would have been a 9 out of 10, and it sinks it to a 4 out of 10. And quite frankly, I'm still going to be reviewing it each week, but I'm just going to be waiting around like everybody else for the inevitable episode where Oliver wakes up and sees how selfish he's being, and also that the threats to the city are going to keep coming, and that Black Siren isn't about to spare him just because he's taken off the Green Arrow hood. She'll still come after him and his son. So yeah, they have to drop it down, and this was going interesting new directions, and then they have to drop it down into soap into the abyss of soap opera cliches. I'm really disappointed in this show.